So I think there are a number of people here joining us live. Thank you to all those that join us for our dinners in London who said they're going to join us today. So we've had 5 or 6 dinners now in London, which is exciting. Also to the Businesses Personal Group, who always love watching this, and to our masterminds, who Hannah has supported massively. So this is Thursdays with Penny. And I've created this as a way to interview experts over the last 22 years since Thomas and I started to really build community and work with experts and small businesses. We're always getting asked, who can you recommend who? And that's a hard one because you don't always experience everybody as a supplier. And so through Thursdays with Penny, I interview our experts that we bring into the mastermind. And I'm really motivated to, I think, amplify their brand, because if I believe in them, if I've got to know them deeply, if I see the impact that they have, if I see the values that they have inside the mastermind, and actually now have become a consumer of their skills. And I'm really proud to say that one of our Mastermind 1 experts, Mastermind 1 delegates, effectively members, is now becoming an expert in our Mastermind 2 program and going forward. So that to me is dreamy. So today I'm actually interviewing one of the experts that comes and supports our masterminds. A very big and critical subject, and something I think has certainly been the founding bricks of my 22-year journey in business ownership, has been the ability to grow a personal brand, love your personal brand, not feel embarrassed by it, not feel like it's driven by ego. And I think it's been what's saved me, and many, many times through the vehicles that I've worked through some of the ups and downs. And I suppose it's my opportunity to say to some of my people who support me is thank you, because you've kept believing in me as a brand. Now, what's been phenomenal for me and Thomas is to see our amazing daughter, Hannah Power, from birth to now, care so deeply about design and brand, and she's always been fascinated in this subject. And actually she shared with me a photo which she put on her Instagram story today of her in her little nightie at 4 years old with her computer and printer, which what 4-year-old wants that for their birthday? But if she was. And Hannah is the most phenomenal business person, but her heart lies with how does she help other business people become leaders. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce my daughter, but more than that, the chosen expert in our mastermind program, and thank her actually for the amazing impact you're having in our mastermind and with the leaders that we've introduced you to. But also makes me a bit tearful. Also, thank you for what you've done for me and Dad, because it's incredible the way you transform us and have brought us, up to date, I think, in this world of programs and branding. So enough about me. Hannah, look, we're in 2020 now. So that's actually been a phenomenal vibe, hasn't it? What does that mean? I'm going to ask you straight out here, what is personal branding in this 2020s? What does that mean to you?
So firstly, thank you for that lovely intro, Mum. That was really nice. And very nice to be being interviewed by you live. This is the first time we've obviously done this. So I think this feels weird, but feels very cool. So personal branding in 2020. So I think personal branding has developed over the last 20-ish years, and it's got, 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, it was very easy to build a brand, and people were building brands, starting blogs and, simple golf blogs, for example, and being able to make money from them. And then over the last 5 years, this kind of personal branding world has massively exploded, and it's enabled people who have a strong message and have a strong passion and want to serve an audience to be able to do that through the magic of the internet. And that's amazing. Before it used to be you'd have to be famous, for example, to be able to have as much of an impact as you can have now. And I think now we're moving into 2020, there's so many people now capitalizing and building their brand and doing all of these great things online. But what the really important thing is that we all remember is that authenticity is what people want. And in 2020, I think this is truer than ever. I think being a real person, sharing your vulnerabilities, sharing your truth, being who you truly are, and using that, not using it, but being honest about yourself as your strongest strength, rather than this fake it till you make it world, or selling lies or dreams or whatever it is. Not saying everybody does that, but a lot of people do. More and more people are looking away from those brands and looking just for real people. So I think this is the opportunity for the real person. The other thing I think people are looking for in 2020, more so than ever, is very, very niched, very specific people to follow. We expect such a personalized world that we live in. You know, we expect Amazon to know what we want to order. When we log onto the internet, we expect everything to be as we want it to be. And that's true for the people that we follow. For us to truly engage and care and be interested, we want someone to really feel that they know us, that they understand us, that they care about us, and they're actually helping us. Before, people would say, you know, don't give away too much for free because you should sell that content. When actually now it's the more you can give away for free, the more value you're giving people and building that relationship early on. So being specific in that niche and really deeply caring about the people that you're serving.
Yeah, I love that. And I know, you know, I've experienced you taking me through this when I went from building brands like Academy and Digital Youth Academy and the Business Cafe to you saying, Mum, a couple of years ago, Mum, you know, you've got a brand, but nobody knows how they can work with you. And you helped me to really understand that, really understand what you call the pain points, didn't you? You really understand the people that I most could serve, the people I have the most empathy with and get excited and joy and reward out of serving. And I think that is a really important part of what this personal brand is, because you take it away from ego. And I love that, because I know from experiencing what you've done with me and observing others and seeing the case studies of people that I have no idea who they are, but reading their case studies, there's a real coaching element to this, isn't it? Because some people are really scared of building their brand, aren't they? Because they see it as ego. And I love this when one of our experts, Simon, said, ego fills the hole where self-worth should be. Yeah. But I really sense that you help people to really build their sense of self-worth. Yeah. You know, that to me is powerful. How do you do that? What sort of things do you do with people around that?
I think this whole thing around personal branding being self-promotional and being about ego and being about this is a really common thing that people think. I think the term personal branding, I don't actually love, but that is the term that people know. So it's hard to move away from it. The strongest personal brands, if you look at them online, they're not about them at all. They're about the people that they serve. And I think when you shift away from thinking about you and your expertise and all of this stuff, you actually move away from that sense of fear, that sense of, you know, nobody might want to people might not want to listen to me, you know, all of these kinds of things, and into a place where you move away from ego and into that serving space. So in terms of how to coach people through this, I think a lot of people, particularly in the UK, I think in the kind of culture that we have, don't necessarily have a huge amount of confidence in their own ability. They kind of struggle and everything's got to be hard and people don't want to listen to me, when actually they've got a passion, something that they're really good at, that often they've honed in on for 20, 30 years. And actually they would be doing a disservice by not serving an audience and sharing that message with them. And when you flip that and going, actually the knowledge that you have, the skills you've developed, all the journey that you've been on, if you look at all of that, that is your brand. And that is how you can help other people, whatever that might be, whether it's a life coach, a copywriter, a senior executive. Everybody has knowledge, has a passion, has something they've picked up along the way. So in terms of coaching, I think it's just a case of constantly asking questions and helping people to actually see the amazingness that they've already done and achieved. This isn't necessarily about creating something completely new. It's about looking back and looking at all the stuff you've done. If you're early on in your career, then maybe you do need to do a little bit more creating. But a lot of the people that I work with are early, but a lot are also, you know, later on looking for a rebrand and thinking I've got to start again, when actually, no, you've done a lot. So what's that going to look like? And I think getting people to see their true selves is how the best way that you can help someone to overcome any confidence or fear issues.
Yeah, I love that. So I've noticed there's a number of people joining us, which I really, really appreciate. I'm going to be focusing. You can't see that, but I'm going to keep focusing on the conversation with Hannah. But I just want you all to know I really appreciate you joining. For those that have just joined, I'm talking to Hannah Power in my Thursdays with Penny video conversation here. And this is where I talk to experts that I've become really seeing the impact they have, and really appreciate that they're in my life, because so many people come to me for help and I'm not an expert on everything. And Hannah is one of our experts and has had a massive impact on me and our clients. And what we've been talking about is, I suppose, the sort of subject of personal branding, but also how people feel about building a brand. So now I want to ask you this question, Hannah, which is, what are the challenges that you see people face, the biggest sort of challenges when people come to you? How do you witness that and help them?
So I think it tends to be, obviously people come with a lot of different challenges depending on where they're at in their lives, but there's kind of three core main areas things that they're looking to achieve and things that they're looking to solve. So in terms of what they're looking to achieve and the challenges they're having that they're not achieving these things, is that they're often looking to seek opportunity. So that might be attracting leads, attracting speaking opportunities, attracting anything towards themselves, moving from that push to actually pull, being known for something and then having people want to come towards you, whatever that might be. Yeah. They're also looking to have more of a positive impact. So to build a brand that actually serves, or to do a job that serves, rather than just driven by commercial. There's been a massive shift over the last few years towards this purpose, fulfillment. All of these words are very much in our day-to-day vocabulary now. So they're really looking to be able to be, have the opportunities and have the commercials they may desire, but also to have that positive impact and actually help and serve a particular group of people. In terms of what they're struggling with, I would say a big one is the kind of confusion and overwhelm of the internet. So just the huge amount of advice, information, advertising, and all of this stuff that's thrown at them, which just means that it's so hard to know where to start. You start doing one project and then you start doing something else, when actually you need to pick one thing and have the consistency. But how do you know which is the right one for you? Which one's going to work for you and your brand and your journey? The second one is time. So, a lack of time. There's never enough time in the day, never enough hours in the day. And it's a challenging one time, because everyone's got the same amount of time. You're never going to have more time. You're never going to wake up one day and say, oh, I've got 3 extra hours today, I'm going to focus on my personal brand. If you did have 3 extra hours, you would probably, I don't know, do jobs around the house, put your car in for a service, all these things that you've been putting off. So it's about finding that time and then making sure that the time you're using is really intentional. It's not wasted time. It's not flappy time. When you block out the time, you're getting the right stuff done. And then the last one, and we've touched on it, is this whole fear thing, fear of, does anybody care what I have to say? What if I mess it up? What if I fail? What are people going to think? Are people going to be mean to me if I do this stuff? And this massive fear piece around putting yourself out there, which I think is completely normal. It is a big decision to make, but also when you've made it usually comes down to one decision of one video, one piece of content, one thing, and then you're kind of through that fear. So there's a lot more work, and then you just tip yourself over, and then people do start to move through it quite quickly. So I'd say those are the 3 kind of main challenges they're facing.
Yeah, and I think you're bang on with that. And I'm going to add a 4th to that, which I know is elongating this conversation a bit further. But one of the things that was my fear, because I think some of those other things, I was able to overcome them and I've had some experience. But the big one for me was the digital tools. Yeah. That, I just love the way you have coached me through overcoming my fears of even using Facebook Lives, having a tripod, having the right camera, making sure that I know, because I think if I was trying to learn to drive and I had a fear of it and I was never getting in it and being shown how to drive, I would never get off the starting block. Yeah. And I think your skills around demystifying and simplifying and calming people down around is something I really honour, and thank God you do that. I mean, I know that you have to get people through a chasm on that, don't you?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of tools online which can, I mean, I think I invest a lot of money in software, as you do too. You know, I think probably £400 or £500 a month I spend now in software as a service subscriptions. But what that enables me to do would cost, I mean, my business wouldn't be possible without, there's like 5 core pieces of software which I genuinely wouldn't be able to run my business without. You know, things like Trello, things like Canva, things like Slack. These kind of communication tools or project management tools or design tools and these kinds of things, they enable you to push yourself to the next level. It's a bit painful getting used to them and thinking in a different way. And with everything, a lot of this comes down to mindset of breaking through that. Well, it's going to take more time up front, but less time long term. But it's so crucial, because the thing is that the people that are succeeding online and succeeding with their brands, they're using these tools, they're optimizing their time, they're optimizing what they're doing by understanding these tools. So when new ones come out, I get to know them, I see if they're any good, and then I introduce them to my clients. But I'm actually always trying to remove tools. Like, I always want as few tools as possible. So something has to be really, really excellent for it to join my list of my life of tools, because I don't want loads of tools, I don't want loads of extra I don't want to spend more money. There's less is more, I think. And often if you've got too many tools and too many of this. So I do like a monthly audit of going, do I need all of these tools? Actually, is that one adding, or is that one actually this, or is that that? It's a huge thing that I really love doing. But also, I agree. Something very important when you are doing anything which is new. Yeah.
And you've helped people from young. And I know that one of the people that contacted me was going to join this, was going to watch it with her teenager. So I hope, Katie, you're here with your daughter.
Oh, I hope so too.
I know. So I know that you've helped young people, but also people into their 60s.
Yeah.
And I know your own discovery about niching and niching and niching again is also about the sort of people that you've got the patience to support and believe in that they are having true impact, because you don't want to gather clients around that just don't achieve what they want to achieve because they haven't got the right desire to have impact. And I think that's a really important message that you helped me when I was writing and choosing my content around the Mastermind, for example, is, who can I truly attract into this? Because the world is very wide, and what most people do when they're scarce and starting out is they think, I've got to go as wide as possible. But actually this niche is incredibly powerful. So I want to just mention here, because a proud moment for me as a mum, and something that I'm thrilled about as leading a mastermind where you bring in your expertise, is you've now got, and it's published now, your new book, which we've both got a copy in our hands. It's phenomenal, Hannah. I just think age 27, I mean, considering you've actually been thinking about this subject since you were less than 4, I would say. Some people are 40 before they write a book, 50, but they may have not put the effort and the time and the research and the thoughts and the experience and the passion that you've put into this book. So congratulations on this book. When somebody buys this book, what do you think they will get from this book? What will they experience?
So I wanted to create this book to make, first of all, to have something which anybody would be able to access. So I think, often when with online courses and coaching and masterminds, they often, they have a price point that might mean that other people might not be able to do that yet. So it's giving something for everyone, that everyone can read a book. And I've filled it with value, which hopefully will help people to get some belief and confidence in themselves and start to look at themselves and their journey and their story in a slightly different way. A clear plan. It goes between kind of the thinking stuff, but also the output. And I've also, when you buy the book, you get free access to an online tool, which has got some videos and some workbooks and all of those kinds of things. So to actually support you with getting some of this stuff done, working out what is my niche going to be? Where shall I start with my content? How is the best way to connect with my audience? All of these kinds of things to think about, going through the book and then supplementing it with the online resources. And then the other thing that I think someone would take away from this book is, once you've gone through the journey of getting clarity on your brand and your content and all of these things, I've then got a whole model at the back of the book all around time management and how to kind of effectively manage your time, how to ensure you've got time to put those elevate tasks in, those ones that push you to the next level, but also manage your day-to-day jobs, thinking about how to outsource effectively so that you're not spending your time on something, that you could outsource for $10, $20, $100. So it's really taking somebody on a journey all the way through that kind of first, that mindset and that belief piece, through the journey of the brand, and then through into that kind of how to manage my time and how can I actually ensure that this gets embedded, that these new habits, this new way of learning actually works. Because my experience with a lot of books is there's a lot of great theory, but it's not always really practical. Or if it is practical, it doesn't always help you to understand how to actually implement it in your life. So it goes, here's a long list of tasks, but actually now you've just got a long list of tasks, whereas actually you need to think about, okay, how can I put these tasks into my day? So I've tried to link all of the time management stuff with the tasks I've actually put throughout the book so that you can get into that habit and that practice of being more effective with your time.
Yeah, brilliant. No, it's phenomenal. I mean, I just think it's just an incredible tool, and I really congratulate you on you. And I know not everyone can afford coaching, and I think that they start with this perhaps. And you only need to see a little bit of impact on your business, and then you can invest in yourself a bit more and not feel quite so alone. And I know when people come to your website, which is, surprise, surprise, hannahpower.co.uk, is that the best website, isn't it?
That's the best one, yeah.
You've got a journey that people can go on with you. You've got a group on Facebook. And the other thing you've got, which I have to say I fall in love with, and is so many of our masterminds have, is this diagnostic tool, this scorecard that helps people to see where, if they answer it really truthfully, where they are in their journey of building a personal brand. So how can people take that from with you, Hannah? How can people take that scorecard?
Yeah, so I'll just quickly explain it, and then so very, very quickly. So the Powerful Leaders methodology, which is what the book's all about and what I do with all of my clients, whether they're big corporates or individual solopreneurs or millennials just trying to work stuff out, is these 7 core components of building a personal brand. So the book helps people to do that. The diagnostic tool, the scorecard, essentially you ask 40 yes or no questions, and then you get an overall score of your brand and then a score for each of those 7 components. And what that means is that you've then got clarity on where shall I focus. So if we go back right at the beginning of this conversation, it was that kind of challenge that people were struggling with, was that massive overwhelm of where shall I start. This helps people to know, well, actually I'm okay in this area, so I can spend more time in this area, or that I need to get everything up to a solid 60% and then push these ones up and these ones up. So it helps people to have more of a plan, trying to organize and kind of debunk all the chaos that is all the advice you can get around personal branding. So if you're watching this live, go to hannahpower.scoreapp.com. If you're watching on a recording, I've updated the URL, so it will be powerfulleaders.scoreapp.com. Take you about 5 minutes, 40 yes or no's, and then you'll get some guidance on, where to start, where to focus, where you're at, and a little bit of personalized advice on there as well. So yeah, it's a really good tool, and I love it because it means that when I start to talk to potential clients or I work with current clients, we straight away have done that discovery piece of knowing, where the main gaps are. So there's no surprises. We've got a really good understanding of what needs to happen. And it enables me to support people in a much better way, because when someone says, what do I need? I can actually say, well, I think this, rather than doing that thing where a lot of people say, well, it depends on this and it depends on that, because that's not really the answer that anybody wants. So I think it's really, I get lots of good feedback, and I think it is really high value. So if you're watching, I do really recommend giving it a go.
Yeah, it is. I got huge amounts from it, and I go back to it actually and look at where am I, and retake it and think, oh yeah, actually I have plugged that gap now. So it's fantastic. So I'm coming to the end of this interview, which I've absolutely loved with you, Hannah. I'm just going to confirm that this is now on Amazon. That's right. So look up Hannah Power, Power of You, and remember her scorecard website, hannahpower.co.uk. And Hans, that was so enjoyable. Loved it. really great fun with you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that we gave a lot of value to anybody listening. And thank you for those of you that joined us. I see that Katie was with us with her teenager. Yeah, so really excited about that, because I know that's something, I know you speak in school, worth thing around what social media has done and how it's not being used quite right by them is something that's really passionate to you. And Phil's joined us as well with our mastermind. So we've had a lovely time, and thank you, everyone. Lots of love to you all. Bye, Dan.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.